Welcome back to boredom.
Maybe something will happen in this part.
Okay, will happen, to be fair, yes. Now we're going to kind of pick up, but not really.
Okay, for the sake of trying to be fair, will anything that we learned in the last part, aside from Dan being sick, really at least factor into the plots or their development?
Not really, no.
I'm trying with you, game. I'm really trying with you.
And trust me, it's like I said before, this is a story where one of the core themes is brotherly love. That's like one of the easiest ways to get to me, game, and yet you fail.
You know, I'd ask what did people see in this game, but I don't have to because apparently people didn't see it in this game because the game was a commercial failure.
This game does have its small fan base. But even in the Life is Strange community, most people agree that this is definitely the black sheep of the franchise.
Again, it seems like it nearly killed the franchise if, the team behind Before the Storm didn't come to the rescue of True Colors. And even still, with True Colors, they had to play it.
Oh, this bit here. This bit here. There you go. Now we're letting Mushroom go out. And so we can set up the plot point that I think it was Dwebs who predicted it, or was Jova predicted it. Jova predicted it.
Wait! They're gonna kill her already?
Yes.
Okay.
I thought that was gonna happen at least in a later chapter or something.
I thought it'd be chapter 4 or some shit.
Me too. I was literally thinking chapter 4 because penultimate chapter and all that.
So, oh my god.
So the moral of the story is don't let out your dogs.
Is she gonna drown in that lake or something?
No, you'll see, Shirai.
Let me guess. A racist bigot will come, shoot her down, and we watch as the blood pours out of her as the life flows and shows what these monsters have taken from us.
We see the light leave her eyes.
There's a particular defense that I've seen of how they handle Mushroom's death that I will address when we come to it. That being said, yeah, you're starting to see what I mean. We get no time to get attached to any of these characters because...
Not even Mushroom. They made such a big deal about getting that dog.
Yeah, it's done specifically... Okay, if I'm going to be absolutely fair, there is one major reason why they kill Mushroom. There is one particular plot reason. The problem is that, as I'm going to explain in a moment, there were far better ways of doing this without just making such an emotionally manipulative moment out of this.
Is this a reason we'll at least get in this part, or
it's in this part. It's in this part.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. How
about this?
One of those bits where we have to wait until near the end for the reason why this happened.
It's not even one of those things. It's one of those things where,
okay, all done.
This could have been avoided. Let me compare this to the beginning of A Plague Tale: Innocence, where Amicia is playing with her dog Fetch, and later the dog gets killed by the rats. Right? That was the game's way of setting the tone, the dark tone that the rest of the game has.
That was literally the intro.
Yeah. The idea was to establish that this is not going to be a happy game. This is going to be a game that is going to go places. So
it was also a good way of showing how much the rats meant.
Exactly. So there was a good reason for why they killed that dog.
And also the supernatural aspect of it, as I mentioned.
Yeah.
Okay, to play devil's advocate, maybe a good way to handle Mushroom's death would be that Daniel accidentally kills her and with his powers, and this is to show him that with great power comes great responsibility.
Where is he?
Actually, Jova, you're kind of on the right track. Hold on.
Okay.
Where was you see, in film class, in writing classes, you're taught about setting the tone. Within the first 10 to 15 minutes of your movie, you're expected to set the tone. For those in the audience who might know what tone means, tone is defined by how a movie feels. Does this movie feel funny? Is this movie feel happy or calm or sad or disturbing? you're supposed to set the tone, like how the movie is going to feel, so that the audience can get comfortable and prepared for what's to come.
What the fuck happened here?
There you
Also, before
Oh,
the scene,
go. Go on.
I forgot about A Plague Tale somehow. Yes, that is an example of a story of two siblings who have to grow up way quickly.
Exactly.
Like, way quicker than they would have
That's not
normally. And that does it really well.
Shirai, look, Shirai, if
Oh, boy.
you Shirai,
Bandana.
Shirai, wait till we do the sequel. The sequel is amazing. But moving on.
Oh no, the bandana, the trail of blood. Say it is not so.
So there you go. Mushroom was killed by a tiger? No,
There.
Oh, a
not a
A
bear.
cougar.
A cougar. Okay.
Well, that or it might be an ocelot.
It killed her! She was my friend!
Calm down.
You do it for like
okay?
2 days.
Listen.
Well,
Actually, 2 months, 2 months, actually.
He's known her for.
Oh.
Okay, so
snap.
now we can either let Daniel kill the cougar or step forward. The idea is, of course, to set his morality that he should not use his powers to kill. Now, like I've hinted at before, yes, the idea behind this moment is to set a big moral point for Daniel, where we need to teach Daniel that you need to be, you can't, like, even in a case like this, you shouldn't use your powers to kill an animal because this animal was just trying to eat.
So.
The idea was, of course, to serve as a moment to define Daniel's morality for the rest of the game. That being said, there were better ways of doing this. You could have
ways of doing it.
you could have very easily done something like so I don't know, like how about this? Instead of the dog, how about have the cougar attack Sean, and that's when Daniel starts lifting the cougar. And that's when Daniel. See, you could have. There were far better ways of doing this without having to kill the dog. Go on.
And if you really had to kill the
Well,
dog, like I mentioned, an interesting way could have been maybe Daniel was playing around with his powers, but in playing with his powers, he accidentally causes Mushroom's death.
I've actually got a counter to that.
Go on.
If the older brother stops Daniel from killing the bear,
The cougar.
stop the
Cougar.
bear. What? The cougar. What's to stop while they're all distracted? What's to stop the cougar from just running up and eating him anyway?
Oh, that's the thing. If you pick, don't intervene. Sorry. Regardless of what you choose, okay, how about this? If you let him kill the cougar, he'll just kill the cougar. If you don't, if you intervene like I did, the cougar will just pick up Mushroom and leave,
It's pointless.
like he just did.
Can't even bear
So I don't know what to tell you, dudes.
So,
Unless you want to say something.
And there you go. Basically, we have this small funeral scene, and that's it. Mushroom's role in the game is done. I don't even understand what was the point of bringing. Again, the whole idea behind Mushroom was just so we can have this scene, I guess. But it's just,
and how you
it feels like very inefficient storytelling. Go on.
and
so question. Let's say that you went with the right moral decision in the previous chapter, but went with the wrong moral decision in this chapter. Is there like multiple endings based off of like, oh, how much of a mix of good or evil you've taught Daniel,
Yes.
or does the game like tally up stuff?
Yes, basically, if you let Daniel kill the cougar, Daniel will will not hesitate to kill in worse situations of that. Like, for example, to give you an idea, there's a potential ending where Daniel ends up on his own,
There's no such
and whether he will kill anyone who tries to threaten him will depend on that choice that we just did.
So let me guess. So for the first one, it was like, whether or not he'll steal, I guess.
Yes. So basically, my problem with the morality system of Daniel is that it's inconsistent for reasons that I will explain later when it becomes apparent.
Dad.
Like, okay, let's imagine that cougar had been attacking Daniel.
Yes.
We'd probably be more okay with him killing it, but I guess now this implies, because that would be self-defense,
We should go.
which I guess was not the case here. The cougar looked pretty dangerous still, but I digress.
My basic idea is that the cougar attacked Mushroom not with evil intent, but because he's a predator. He hunts to eat because that's how they eat. It has nothing to do with malice. It's just the law of nature. That's how things work.
Yeah.
So I don't feel the need to kill the cougar because the cougar is not cougars do not possess the ability to have evil. Their brains do not allow. Their brain power doesn't allow for that. So
well, yeah, it gives us an opportunity for the whole mentality of Daniel, but in the grand scheme of the story, what exactly
What about my
was
traps? Oh,
the point of that?
Should we leave them up?
I have no clue.
Like,
Like-
I mean, what does it have to do with racism? What is that? I mean, maybe it's to show that life can be cruel and all, but
Yeah.
well, no doubt life can be cruel given all
Life
that's
can
happened
be
to them.
strange, don't you?
It's no, seriously, I'm not kidding you. The whole decision of morality aside, this entire section where they're in the house could have easily been skipped over. Hell, the whole training bit where we're practicing with the rocks, you could have easily just written that as pages in the diary. We don't really need to.
Then we would know why Mushroom is dead.
Oh no! That part you should keep because it's one of the big moral choices of the game. I'm talking about the training montage at the beginning of this episode. You could have easily just made that a page in the diary. We don't really need to see that. You could have just put in those illustrations in the diary. That would have been enough. You don't really need to waste like 5 minutes with that.
So, Shiroi, the dog's dead. Having fun yet?
Okay, the way they did it wasn't terrible, but I still don't know how to feel. Like, I just...
What if I...
That's
If I may-
Shuri's one sentence review. The way they killed the dog wasn't terrible, actually.
If I might give my input, I'm not as mad as I thought I would be at it. If anything, I'm more so befuddled by
Yeah,
how it
basically.
was handled. Like, yes, it happened, and I can sort of get why, but man, it feels more wasteful than anything. And granted, maybe we weren't supposed to care about Mushroom, but this comes with the side effect of the game kind of conditioning us not to care about any character who's not Daniel or Sean at this point. They can legit just come and go from the plot as easily as that.
Yeah, that's one of the big problems
This
with this
is not
game.
the murder mystery genre guy.
This is why. That's one problem that this game and Beyond Two Souls actually share, because Beyond Two Souls is complete segmented chapters that feel so separate from everything else. Also have the problem of like characters that come and go and disappear. Like as a result, the player doesn't get attached to anyone.
Also, Shuri, it's funny you mentioned the murder mystery genre because some Ace Attorney games actually can do a good job getting you to care for the literal victims of trials. In fact, I dare say Ace Attorney 6 actually goes out of its way to make you actually legit feel sorry for a lot of the victims in that case. So, like, I feel more for the literal cannon fodder in an Ace Attorney game than I feel for the sad dog.
It also helps.
I'll get to 5 and 6 next year.
Yeah, it also helps that you know the specific unique trial gimmick of that game helps that in particular.
It does. But it's like, I'm sorry, it's a dog death. A dog death is like one of the easiest things to do to get people to feel sad. Yet I don't feel sad nor anger, just more so bemused.
It's like again, it's like the moment where we revealed that our actions made Chloe a cripple in the first game. Like it feels like a cheap moment made to make you feel sad for no reason. You know, when you have to resort to that kind of tactic to make the audience feel anything other than numb, you know you fail as storytellers.
Pretty much.
Not to say that you can't kill dogs, you can, like I said, like in Plague Tale Innocence shows, you can kill dogs. That's not the point we're trying to make. But you have to be tactful about this shit.
Like, maybe if the point of it was to add to the message that life can be cruel, okay, fine, but it doesn't feel like it. So
Here's an
now
example.
what?
Hell, that's what Bambi's death and Bambi mom's death.
Bambi's mom's
Bambi's mom's death.
Spoilers, mate.
Oh come on! Everybody knows Bambi's mom dies. It's a meme practically.
No, I was making a
How
joke.
dare you
Pedro,
spoil that for me? What the
When
fuck?
was
Pe-
that?
no, I was making a joke of how Pedro accidentally said Bambi dies.
Yeah.
Wait, what? When did that happen?
Misspoke.
Well, I forget if it happens in the book.
I haven't read the books. I wouldn't know.
Oh yeah. For those who don't know, Bambi the movie is
Let me check
actually
you out.
based off of a book.
Claire likes everything
Mhm.
super.
Well, most Disney movies are.
Said she
So.
got pissed because he let me bring a
Wait.
snowball. in the
Oh,
house.
so they know the people they're staying with here, I guess.
Oh yeah. I think I forgot to mention that. Sorry. Sean's plan, because they can't keep in the wild because Daniel keep getting sicker. They decided to go to their grandparents' house, specifically their mother's parents. As a last resort, because basically they're desperate. They need medicine. They can't go to a natural pharmacy and buy some because they have no money and they're wanted fugitives. So they're coming here out of desperation, basically.
I'm sorry, we don't want any of...
Hello, Claire.
That's basically it. There's not really any more to it.
Let me guess. He calls her by first name because they're not exactly on the best of terms with the mother's side of the family, I'm guessing.
No, their relationship with the grandparents is fine. It's more so
So
they're
why doesn't he just call them Grandma and Grandpa?
Steve, watch your mouth.
let me put it this way: it's not so much that they're in bad terms. It's more so that they're not as attached to them as they are with the father, because they haven't seen them in a few years, basically. I think.
Again, being on the mother's side of the family, I'm guessing.
Yeah.
things are-
Remember, the mom abandoned them. She
And I'm
ran.
assuming the grandparents did not approve of that. I would hope.
No, the grandparents the grandparents do not side with the mom. If that helps you.
So I guess we have two more decent people in this universe.
Oh no, Claire and Steven are okay. They have their flaws, but their characters, they're meant to have flaws anyway.
Interesting how the photos have a different art style from the rest of the game.
Remember, it's the same art style from the first game. Like Raoul Barbet, not Raoul Barbet. Michel Koch likes to compare the art style of both these games as a living, making look like a painting. And it's why this game still has the painterly aesthetic from the first game, just with a higher fidelity, of course, because they have a bigger budget for this one.
Warm enough for you?
Oh yeah.
So let me guess. Eventually, the police come looking for the two, and that's why they eventually have to
Daniel
leave.
some
Because
cough medicine.
otherwise,
But you should have taken
Well,
that.
Job already predicted the ending of this chapter, so
oh my god! Shoot, I'm on a roll with this game. God damn
For a
it!
second.
It's Final Fantasy 13 all over again.
or for Irvin Seraph.
Yeah, that's.
Though in reference to Rafi was both you and Teo. More Teo than you, because Teo even predicted Teo even predicted a shit ton of stuff in that game.
My belly hurts.
So
Like me and him were doing tag team on that. But yeah, the reason I guess that is because unless the police come looking for them, the brothers have no reason to move from here.
Yes.
Sure, yeah, eventually people might ask about the kids, but honestly, the thing is, in an ideal story setting, the good ending could have been that the grandparents adopt these two.
Yes. Let's take a cue from David Cage and ground the player. I'm not kidding. I am literally grounded. I have to wait till the game moves on. I can do anything aside from look at the objects.
You're on the naughty step.
I think it used
Jesus fucking Christ.
Hey. Like, okay, has there been a game that has managed to actually make this fun and intuitive? And no, Ace Attorney doesn't count because literally the plot of Ace Attorney games is to read and search for stuff. So
It escapes me. Alright, so let's talk about this.
have they heard about what happened?
Obviously, it's on all the newspapers, so yeah.
Thanks. I'm good.
Oh, so it's already national news.
Well, yeah, remember, we read the newspaper about it in the previous episode.
Yeah, but weren't we still in...
Told us a
Yeah,
few
but I
weeks
think we were
ago.
still in the state of
They're looking
Washington
for
at that
you.
point. At least.
Well, I think we're still in this, or maybe we were in a different state by this point. I don't really
hard to
know.
tell.
I don't really know or care, to be honest. So
hurt that police officer.
I'm beginning to
in
wonder if the
Seattle.
game even knows or cares.
No, that's fucking bullshit. I never touched the guy.
Thank you.
Don't get mad, Sean. We have to ask. We only know what we saw on the news.
That's
All I know
fair.
is that he shot Dad. And now he's gone.
Oh, sweetie. We are so sorry for what happened to your father, but why did you run away if you're innocent?
So I'm gonna pick my theory of why Sean ran away.
I saw the cop on the ground and my dad and I freaked out.
Oh, I know. You poor thing.
That is fair. That justifies.
I will say
That
They
just
are just kids. This is probably a reaction a kid would
sure.
have.
That justifies fleeing the scene, like I said before. But by this point, you should run. Continuing to run from the police is not going to help you. In fact, that would be quite the opposite. Again, if you know you're innocent and you know that you and not you, in fact, at this point, Sean knows what killed the cop. It was Daniel's psychic explosion, meaning the cops have nothing on them. Literally nothing.
Yeah. Like, I mean, you know,
to think what
and
could
you
have
know,
happened
I
to
think
both
the
of
main
you.
problem with the story is that it wants to say that,
You
oh,
must
the
think
cops
long
suspect them
term
because they're
solution
racist.
now.
Except the sad thing is that the cops are technically right about one of them having killed the cop. Now, okay, now Sean seems to be their prime suspect, but they're apparently also suspecting Daniel. The thing is,
What are
they
your
would be
plans?
right. Like, honestly, I feel like if the game wasn't super focused on just, oh, racism is bad, this could have actually been an interesting story of, again,
down to
the kids
Mexico.
freaking out, becoming
With the wolves.
fugitives, but it's all due to about a
Dad has a
circumstance.
family.
And the
house.
cops
Sean.
technically having no choice
You
but to
can't
consider
run
them
away from the
suspects
law
because
like
there are no other
fugitives.
clues, so they at least just want to talk to the
How can
kids.
you look out for
But
your
again,
brother
because
if
the
you
story
aren't
is
running
all
from the
just
police?
racism is bad, with
You
little or
two
no
will
substance
stay
to it,
with us.
it feels like they're
Stephen.
essentially just prolonging this plot for the sake of it.
Maybe we should-
The whole Sean's powers,
After your mother,
sorry, Daniel's powers
your
killing
dad
them,
never really
like,
wanted
get
us.
is kind of what put them in this corner, actually. Like, the writers, I
You're
mean,
still
because
part of our family, and
they have, you know, they're going for the whole racist thing. It's like, whether they did or not doesn't matter. The cops are doing this because they're racist. But, like,
Seriously?
because it was the superpower that did this,
That's-
there's no DNA.
Yep.
No fingerprints. There's nothing from the boys on this cop. And by this point, there would have been an autopsy.
But we have to
It's
Yeah.
been a few days.
And, yeah, that's because
It doesn't work.
yeah. Sean knows
the big
that it was Daniel who killed the cop, but it was an accident. But not only was it an accident, yes, he knows. Sean knows that it was Daniel who killed the cop, but the cops have no way of knowing that. So Sean can go back and say we didn't do anything, and you have nothing on us, and the cops will literally have nothing. The worst thing they can be accused of is fleeing the scene, like I said before.
Well, I mean,
Yes, he is.
well, I mean, there is
But he seems
manslaughter.
better already.
But that's the thing, Dibs. They have no
The
evidence
little
of
thing
that.
is,
Daniel will
like,
stay here.
unless Daniel
At least until
confesses,
Daniel's
oh
dead.
yes, I killed the cop with my psychic
what happens
abilities,
next.
they have nothing. Like, okay, Dwibs, you're a fan of
I bet you're
Naruto.
hungry.
You know how
I've only
Hinata's
seen it. I've
family...
only seen a couple of episodes.
Well, basically, Hinata's family has this special technique that literally can beat someone up without needing to touch them at all. That's essentially what Daniel did. There is no DNA of Daniel's on that cop that could be used for evidence. And okay, even if Daniel confessed that he killed the cop with psychic abilities,
They'd be like, haha, sure, kid. Like,
yeah. Let's just say I think the court would sooner say, well, boys will be boys. He is clearly innocent and just has a vivid imagination.
like the
And-
point is, this isn't Naruto.
Yeah,
A world
and
where
that-
powers exist.
That's the entire thing. This entire
Powers exist in this world.
They
You
do,
know
but the
what
general
I
public,
mean. The scale.
the general public are not
temperature's
aware
down.
of these powers.
no.
Yeah,
Still
like
need to
it's
take it easy.
common in Naruto, is what I
How about
mean.
if
This
we
is
Yeah.
like
Little prayer.
a freak incident. Like,
That's why
who's
they
gonna
call.
believe it?
Yes. The thing is, and that's exactly one of the big problems of this game. The very base premise
Bedtime.
doesn't add up. It makes no sense. Like, this entire plot line is so stupid that it amazes me how he went past any sort of rough draft. Like,
keep in mind, even the idea that all the cops are racist doesn't hold up
Well, I
because
can
we
still
get
say
a
a
text
prayer
from
for
one of
my
the cops
grandchildren.
who gently just asks us to turn ourselves in because they want to know the answers or
Sean and
whatnot.
Daniel
Like,
safe
at
and sound.
best, if we're really to believe they're all racist, unless the writers have more to show us, it's just us taking the writers at their word instead of actually
Yeah.
having good substance and material to support that idea.
you know what's interesting? We talked over it just now, but the game kind of addressed this by having the grandma ask, why did you, if you just keep, why did you run, why did you keep running away? If you keep running away, it's going to make things worse for you. And Sean's response is, and I quote, "You know the police would separate us, then it will be put in foster care." And then Stephen, the grandpa, answers with, "You can't know that for sure, Sean." And yeah, that is true. Like,
And again, like I said, what's stopping the grandparents from adopting them? I'm pretty sure, like, the family relation would at least give them a leg up on that stuff.
yeah, they could have very easily. Again, there were Sean. And remember, Sean is still not an adult, yes, but he's 16, I think, 15, 16, around that area. So he's already old enough to be able to think a bit more rationally about this and not act so, let's face it, stupid regarding this.
I don't think this is the one.
Like, again, it's clear what they want to do. They want to do about how, racism would totally see it that they're the bad guys. But the thing is, for a story obsessed with how racism is wrong, it feels like they lost the plot on even that. Because like I mentioned, we've seen more to suggest that the police are nuanced, aside from that one trigger-happy cop. Like, sure, yeah, we have seen, like, one bigger guy, essentially lock Sean up. And yeah, he was terrible and all. But why are we to assume that the police would be all like that? In fact, we've seen a fair share of amount of decent people in this world, so I just...
There actually is one particular Life is Strange. There's a video on YouTube called Life is Strange Lost Its Essence, which basically compares both the first game and this. That made an interesting point that could explain that thing that you're talking about right now, Jova. However, I will wait till episode 3 when it becomes more prevalent to explain that.
I concentrate.
Alright.
It just happens.
So yeah, the basic point is now we're just going to sleep because, blah, blah, blah. So we're going to live here for now.
It's kind of.
Again, until, of course, the other shoe drops.
Again, Sean is not really thinking this through. Don't you think that you realize that your grandparents are going to be accused of being accomplices because of this, right?
You know what? This could have been interesting writing if the story really did directly address the fact that Sean is not thinking straight, but I'm guessing we're supposed to side with him in the right because racist society, and he's totally right about how they would want to separate them.
Mm-hmm.
Let me guess. Are the
Or does
elderly
the story
couple...
never address that?
Go on, Lewis.
Let me guess. Okay. Surely the elderly couple are going to turn out to be a bunch of old racist people who still think shows like the Black and White Minstrel Show are hilarious.
No. The grandparents are fine.
Oh, okay.
1 week later.
So what happened during that week? I guess they have a routine.
I only
the house.
allow me to give you the game's answer on that.
Like, seriously, honestly, at this point, I think you could legit make a drinking game out of the amount of time skips in this game.
Oh, we're gonna have a lot more fun with that, Jova, trust me.
It's like the equivalent of scrolling through gameplay videos just to see the cutscenes.
Yeah, one of the it's like I recently rewatched Lilo and Stitch 2 with Deji. It's interesting because the ending of that movie is such a cop-out where Stitch dies because of the reasons that Dr. Jumba predicted, right? So what happens?
Yeah, he's glitching.
So what happens? out of nowhere, Stitch just randomly wakes up and is alive now, and then I forgot his name. I forgot his name. Dr. Jumbo's friend, the guy quickly. Yeah, he asked Dr. Jumbo, but how could this happen? And Dr. Jumbo's like. Who knows? That's literally the movie. That's literally the movie telling you.
I hate to be pedantic, but what actually was said was, "How is this possible? It's not."
Yeah, true. True. Even still,
That was the movie trying to
my
say.
God.
It's essentially,
Go on.
I think. Yes,
Oh, no,
sir.
I'll let Joe finish first.
If I recall correctly, I think that's the movie essentially saying it was the power of
Love.
Hero's
Power
love for
of
Stitch.
I mean, it's not. I
It's
get.
not the worst portraying of that, but I understand anyone who raises their eyebrows at
It's
it.
because see, remember, like, yes, Disney's fairy tale movies do the power of love thing, but here's the thing: the Lilo and Stitch franchise is not a fairy tale, though. It's meant to be a bit more grounded in tone. So
It's a sci-fi.
trying to pull the whole. Well, okay, I mean in terms of the tone, Shiroi, like not so much in
Okay.
terms of the plot elements. Like,
Yeah.
how about this? Let me use this term then: the more down to earth tone of the franchise compared to something like Cinderella or Snow White, right? So pulling the power of love card to revive Stitch at the last minute feels out of place in a Lilo and Stitch movie, in my opinion. But anyway,
I can understand that. Like,
have you seen Leroy and Stitch yet?
no, not yet.
I love that movie.
Oh wait, Lilo and Stitch. Oh yeah, that's right. We forgot that one.
No.
Oh.
He's asking about Leroy and Stitch.
Yeah, Leroy and Stitch. We'll watch that one too. We forgot about that one.
Also, Pedro.
Yes, Shiroi.
It's the OG. I know it didn't come from Pixar, but it's still the OG Disney vision of how are we alive?
I don't know.
No.
If
Oh, boy.
Josh Cooley, writing 101. Don't bring up questions for which there are no answers.
That question is what I thought that and hoped that movie was going to be about. You can't do that to me at the end of the movie.
Maybe Toy
movie
Story
you're talking
5 will.
about?
Maybe Toy Story 5 will finally answer your question,
I
Shirley.
can't believe we're getting a Toy Story 5. Sorry.
I love that Steven
Well, I mean,
crime and
it
training
can't be
books.
worse than the fourth one.
Hopefully, yeah. Go on.
Yeah, I still maintain that I'd rather watch Incredibles 2 over Toy Story 4 because, I mean, at least Incredibles 2 has the excuse of it had a whole year from production cut off
Alright.
because Pixar desperately wanted
to
to
go
Story.
out.
Honestly, Des, when it comes to those two
Liz,
movies,
I will take Incredibles 2, Cars 3, Cars 2, Brave, and Lightyear over Toy Story 4.
It's so weird that this is the first time I'm hearing that, Dibs, and it's so weird to me that they tried to rush out a movie that was already like a 15-year gap from the first movie. It's like we could have waited 16. Like
14, but yeah.
that's still like a decade and a half almost. Like we could have waited that extra year.
to get back
I
to
agree.
this,
Like Incredibles 2 didn't deserve that, but yeah, the grandpa has a model train set. That's nice.
this will not play a role in the plot at all, so don't worry about that.
And we at
Well,
least
I
play
mean, characters.
I
I
won't.
mean, characters' quirks don't always have to be
Oh,
a
sure.
part of the main plot.
Yeah.
Well, Des, I'm not.
Granddad likes trains.
Well, Des, I'm not. It's not like I'm pointing it as a flaw. So,
So do we at least get to? Oh, I guess not.
all right.
He's gonna ask if we could play and interact with the train
Sometimes I
sets.
feel like
Oh yeah, I forgot. We're going to get the plate scene now. Yeah, I might as well bring it up in a moment then.
So a Square. Wait, I think this is one of the few times there's a Square Enix game involving trains and selfies nowhere to be seen.
You know what's the sad part?
Yeah.
it's that.
You know what's the sad part about
Yes.
that? I know this is random, but like, I'm genuinely bored of this. In terms of Square, this is the Square Enix franchise that prides itself on LGBT rep, and yet Final Fantasy 16 has better LGBT rep than any of these games. That's the sad part to me. That's the sad part to me.
What, you have like love?
Basically,
choices or something?
no, but there's one major character who's an LGBT character. Basically, it's a Gale May couple. That's the one. That's all you need to know.
Whoa, a gay male couple in a Japanese game? Daring, aren't we?
No, it's actually handled pretty well, I will argue.
Oh, don't worry.
Oh, I know, I
Pedro
know. It's
showed
just
me a
like, well,
scene
in
usually,
the dark.
I know, it's just like, well, usually in Japanese main material, they tend to favor female gay
Boys don't
couples over
play.
male gay couples.
It's actually pretty cool because he's one of the more badass characters in the game. So
Go straight
And one of the few nice people in the universe.
No trains in the kitchen.
boy.
Remember?
well, it's more so Jova that his dad is basically Hitler, and he's constantly trying his hardest to call his dad to reason.
Honestly, I could see the rest of the game just being these two living with these grandparents.
Yeah.
Because,
we're not
well,
getting
again,
that though, are we?
No, we're not.
I mean, the thing
Is this
really
gonna be-
is...
Is this going to be like X-Men Origins Wolverine, where he falls in with the nice elderly couple and then they get killed?
No, they don't get killed. Don't worry about that.
But we are
okay?
going to have to leave them. It's
It's
like,
great.
and I get it. The
As
plot
usual.
point is,
You're the
oh,
best
we got to
ever.
go past
like
the
you're getting
border
cozy
to
with
truly
this new
be
country life
free and all
after all.
that. But again, it's frustrating
Yeah.
because they
It's nice
could
to be far
literally
away from
just
everything.
go and explain to the police. the
Yeah.
stuff.
We're the only
That's-
ones.
And things could
That's
probably,
exactly
well, yeah,
how
I
we
know.
love it.
Life could not go back to normal. Their
safe.
dad is dead, but
Unlike
my
the big
dudes,
city.
who would look out after
get it.
you? In
Yeah.
I like it.
Apparently,
Those-
that's the thing, Jova. Apparently, they have distant family there.
Good with our name.
But
I'm sure they'll just be able to easily track down and find in Mexico, of course.
apparently they have his dad has a house in Porto Lobo, so they can go straight there.
Hard on him and
Oh,
his
that's
son.
convenient.
Yeah, it is. Well, to be fair, like the father comes from there, so it's not too much of a stretch. It's whatever.
Like, okay, like I mean, if it was like a house that he regularly commutes to, I'm sure. But you're telling me he just has a house that was left there, like assuming it's
Yes.
not abandoned.
To be fair, Jova, like my family has
The
a
house is empty all the time.
yeah, my family has a house that we leave there for like sometimes we will go for like full 6 months before we go back there to clean it up. So
Yeah.
Oh, I get that.
Wait
Oh.
a minute, Jover. Are you saying Pedro's life is unrealistic?
No, 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 no.
oh, no, I have to talk about this.
Stop it, you crazy?
And the grandma does not notice
What's going
that,
on
of
back
course.
there?
Yeah, you know about the whole morality thing? There's going to be that moment with Daniel always happens regardless of your choices, and there's going to be other moments where Daniel acts very immature and dangerous, this regardless of what
Pedro,
your
he's
choices
a
are.
kid.
Trust me, Devs. I wish I could address that defense right now, but it's not the time. So I'll put a pin on that.
Let me go back and clarify my statement here. It's like, yes, I can believe, you know, if they have a house that they regularly commute to. But the story had led me to believe that they were pretty much permanently living up here. So,
Why don't
like,
you go
in the
explore
idea
outside?
that, you know, that would have been a
Sure
house
looks
that
like
they
you're
either
getting
had to
together.
sell or legit
some
just
fresh air.
leave
I'll wait for
behind to
Sean
gather
in the
dust, which,
We won't be loud.
again, feels weird unless their
think
dad
nobody
was like an
sees you.
illegal immigrant or
Stay in the
something, and
back,
that's
okay?
why he had to abandon his life. Like, again, it feels like all these plot points are just a little too
Maybe you
contrived.
should tell him about Karen's room.
Or at
It's
the
just a
very
room
least,
now,
oh
Sean.
god, their mother is called
Nothing
Karen.
to see.
Yeah, her mother is called Karen. Yes, their mother
Is
is
she,
needs that.
is she a, Karen?
He doesn't know what
I know, poor thing.
I guess you could consider her one.
Isn't in there anymore.
Fun fact, there's actually a horror movie called
So
Karen,
nobody
about a
goes in
Karen
the room, okay?
named Karen.
I'm
And yes, the
serious.
movie does indeed point out that the Karen is named Karen.
The Karen aspect is causing interference on this side.
I feel really sorry for nice people called Karen, because now they have to be associated with the terminology, and it's not even their fault.
I want to expand upon something that Jova just said, by the way.
Have to respect
Yeah, about the whole house thing. Yeah, like Jova noted, our main goal is to go to Puerto Lobos. But I would not blame you if you forget that, because the plot lacks urgency. Okay, let me ask you this: if your goal is to get to Puerto Lobos, why did you spend 2 to 3 months in that abandoned house then? Like, why exactly did you stay there for so long? Wouldn't it be much better to just stay on the move? Hell, if you didn't stay for 2 to 3 months in that house, Daniel probably wouldn't have gotten sick. So what the fuck is going on?
Well, I mean, sometimes you can just get sick without a reason.
Okay, Liz, but that doesn't counter my point, though. Why, if their goal is to get to Puerto Lobos, why did they spend 2 to 3 months in that abandoned house? And now they're also spending quite a bit of time in this house now. So there's apparently there's not really that much urgency in getting to Puerto Lobos, even though that's the whole main goal of the plot.
So it's
Here's
like
what I feel like.
So it's like in Star Trek Nemesis, where the villain constantly keeps putting off his main plan, even though there's a ticking clock on him.
Yes.
Like, here's what I would have done. If I had to include Puerto Lobos into the plot, I have Puerto Lobos be like a last resort of which they're trying to escape to. Like, let's imagine. At first, they try to rough it out, live on their own, essentially. Then eventually they turn to their grandparents as a place to stay, but when the police come, that's when they decide for Puerto Lobos or whatever, essentially. Like, I'm sorry, Puerto Lobos feels like such an afterthought, despite being the actual endgame goal of the plot.
Mm-hmm.
How do you do that?
It's, Shiro, do you want to have anything to add before we end this?
No.
Alright, tune in for the next part, everybody, where we continue. So, see you then.
See ya.
Alright, ta-ta!